there are many times in mathematics where someone's going to give us an expression like this, or we'll find an expression like this. And we're going to want to know, is it linear or not? Now, boy, does this look not linear. I'm multiplying variables here together. That just doesn't look linear to me. I'm taking square roots. I'm raising things to powers. But what they're going to ask us is not, is this a linear expression? Because clearly it's not. They're going to ask us, is this a linear function in one variable? So, for example, the first thing that's actually listed in the assignment says, if I write down f of x equals this, so I'm going to write down 3x, and then yz plus 2z square root y minus 7x z squared plus 17. Now, how did writing down f of x change that? Right? It means that everything that's not x is now a constant. So what I'm going to do is just put little green boxes around the constants so you can see what it looks like this. So 3 was a constant. We knew that before. YZ is now a constant. This whole thing is now a constant because it doesn't have x in it. The minus 7 is a constant. The z squared is a constant. The 17 is a constant. Right? And so what this really looks like at the moment is a constant times x plus a constant times x plus a constant. That's actually linear. And the way we would see this, right, is let's group these things that have x's together. So I'm going to have the 3x, yz. Another thing that has x in it is minus 7x, z squared. And then I have the things that don't have x's in it. That's 2z square root y plus 17, like that. And this thing here now only has x's in it, right? So I'm going to pull out the x. So I'm going to write down 3yz minus 7z squared times x plus something that doesn't have x in it at all. This is going to be 2z square root y plus 17, like that. And I'm going to claim this is a linear function in x, right? It's a linear function in x. Once you say in x and you write down a function that says that all of this is a constant, so that looks like a constant times x plus another constant. This is a linear function because this would just be the slope, and this would just be the y-intercept. This comes up a lot more often than you might think. Let's quickly look at the other two variables. So it is linear in x. We can rewrite it so it's a constant thingy times x plus a constant. So let's just do it again. This time, we're not going to write g of x. We are going to write g of y. So I'm going to write down g of y equals 3x yz, let's get rid of this, plus 2z square root y minus 7x z squared plus 17. Now, I can proceed as before, and it really can't hurt, so I'm going to try that. Everything that's a constant, once y is the only thing that variable, the only thing that can vary, right? That's a constant. That's a constant. Let's see here. That's a constant. And all of this is a constant. Now, the problem is not any of these green constants. The reason this is not linear is because this thing that has the variable in it is not a linear function. It's a square root function. So this is not linear in y. Because square root of y is not linear. For example, if I were to graph it, it bends. All right, square root of y is not linear. Okay, so I have this great big huge expression that is Not a linear expression. It is linear in x. It is not linear in y. All right. And what we're going to do is do this really the way people expect us to do it. If I look at h of z, I'm now saying z is the only thing that can vary. So 3xyz plus 2z square root y minus 7x z squared plus 17. Now what we can do as we did before, I guess we can do this, right? Here we go. That's just, right? That's now a constant because it doesn't have a z in it, right? That was a constant. This is now a constant because we're saying when we write this notation that z is the only thing that can vary. This is now a constant. This, of course, is a constant. And the question is what's left a linear function in z? Well, this part is fine, right? Because that's just a constant times z. This part is actually fine because it's a constant times z. This part is not fine because this is a constant times z squared, which is a not linear function. If I were to graph that, that would curve, right? So this is not linear in z. And why? Because z squared is not linear. Ta-da! That's it.